is the network service of the NTA.
Bright and beautiful day here on the studios of Nigerian Television Authority, and the program is Weekend Deal. Now, I always like to start my day with a smile, even though today I feel a little bit, taken aback. When I woke up, I had to check, the number of cases confirmed here in Nigeria, well above 5,000. It's quite sad, and with some good number of deaths recorded. It's sad because for me, I know those people are not just family, they are friends and they have loved ones as well, me inclusive. And I keep wondering, what can we do, to militate against this rise in number? What can we do to ensure that we stay safe? Like I always say, your life is in your hand, even though translating it simply means your health is in your hand. The good thing about the COVID-19, which we are actually focusing on, is that it's not a killer disease and it's quite preventable. All it takes is you taking responsibility. We're going to look at all that, visit states, get to find out, state of affairs within the state with regards to health, and then we'll once in a while interject with some other things. I know that the CBN has also provided some fund, for some people to help come out of the economic crisis of the COVID-19. We'll also have guests speak on that. With all that, we will be bringing you today and much more. But before then, I'll quickly tell you, my name is Elizabeth Abai. Somebody asked me 2 days ago, coronavirus, is it for real? And it was on the phone. I actually didn't want to respond because I was taken aback. In this age and time with what has happened, somebody is asking that question. It's unbelievable. Someone actually told me that it's all, gimmicks by a certain group of people. It's difficult to really handle ignorance. That is what will kill us first if we don't eradicate it. With a number of promos, adverts, enlightenment going on radio, TV, newspaper, it's surprising. Some people are still wondering if it's real or not. But today, I promise you, we want to look at matters arising. We'll move around. But before we get all that done, let's see. Francis Ogbe took time to give us a background, a good one, to kickstart the show today.
With the increasing rate of COVID-19 in Nigeria, it has become clear that we must take our personal hygiene very seriously. One of the precautionary measures is the use of face masks. However, experts have argued that within the context of COVID-19, all materials, including personal protective equipment, PPE, used for the purposes of treatment of COVID-19 are considered an infectious waste.
When we talk about infectious waste, it's a waste that is coming from healthcare facilities. This waste is contaminated with pathogens. These pathogens are disease-causing microorganisms. So we take the concept of this COVID-19, that is the coronavirus disease. We have the isolation centers. So these isolation centers take care of those infected. So the waste that is being generated from these isolation centers are considered as infectious waste. One other aspect of this healthcare waste that is not emanating from the isolation center, which is also a serious issue now, has to do with the personal protective equipment we use wherever we go out. When we go into the public, people are expected to wear their face masks, So people are in the habit of just removing and throwing away the face masks anyhow. So when you do that, you end up recycling most of these pathogens. So there is need for people to observe strict regulations to do with this face masks. When you remove it, you're supposed to fold it in such a way that you find a bag where you can put it, seal it before you put it into any waste collection container.
While the government has made the use of face masks mandatory in public places, individuals must be careful where they get their masks from, especially from street hawkers.
It's risky to buy face masks and use it without treating it, because we also got a report that people pick up this face mask, they test it, someone even tested up to 5. I say, no, I don't like this one, and he takes another one, I don't like this one. So I just urge you journalists to hype it. Nigerians should avoid buying on the street. They just buy and you wear it. No. If they buy the one that's made of cloth, that is washable, please wash it and sterilize it before you use it.
If you go out and you decide to buy a face mask, you pick it, you test it. In the first place, before wearing the face mask, one of the recommendations is for one to wash his hands with soap. To make it clean, if there is no soap, one can use the hand sanitizer to rub on his hands to ensure that the hands are disinfected before even put it on. So you go on to just pick it like that. First of all, there's tendency that you yourself are going to contaminate the face masks in the first place. So by so doing, you may get infected.
Within the context of the global pandemic of COVID-19, the Nigeria Center for Disease Control recognizes the decontamination of surfaces using disinfectants. However, not all disinfectants are employed, rather those with antiviral activities such as chlorine and alcohol-based.
There is need for the disinfection of all these surfaces, especially places where any of these patients that are detected. So once that person is taken to any isolation center, there is need for the decontamination of some of these places. Likewise, public places, there's also the need for one to strictly know how to prepare the right concentration of the chemicals. So we spell out how to prepare the concentration. There's also the need for one to know how to dispose of the spent packages of these chemicals.
Apart from scaling up medical interventions, people need to be well informed of the various measures to break the transmission cycle, including physical or social distancing, restrictions of movement, and the necessity of maintaining thorough personal hygiene.
COVID-19 is a reality. It's a world pandemic. It's wreaking havoc all over the world. So it's a common enemy. We have to come together in order to fight it. One of the ways of fighting COVID-19 is to break the chain of communication. This can only be done if all of us decide to stay at home, make sure you isolate yourself, stop going to public places.
Remember, COVID-19 is not a death sentence, so submit yourself for testing if need be. Take responsibility and stay at home. Therefore, our focus on Weekend Deal today will be on COVID-19 and matters arising.
Okay, stay at home. I'll tell you a joke I was sharing with a colleague yesterday. I won't call his name. I said I was going to make a particular kind of pepper soup and sit down in my house with my juice and drink it over the weekend. And he told me that there is no fun. That the basic thing is to, go to the joint and have this thing done. And that's why they are crying over COVID-19. And I said, if you have a balcony or a backyard, make it, put a table, put a chair, sit at the balcony, sit at the backyard, and have your pepper soup with your drink. At the end of the day, the air you're looking for will still get to your head. None of them believed me. They were all guys. And I remember that earlier on during the news, I was told that by the minister that the ratio is 70-30, men women of cases confirmed. So I think men, you should be more responsible. I'm not saying that you're not, but please think of your loved ones, the women that will take care of you. Stay at home. It's important. But then if you refuse to stay at home, then you have to battle with the security agencies, because they must ensure that they put you to check, to keep you under control. However, we have observed that at some point there are always challenges for them. Let's get to find out what these challenges are for the security agencies to curtail movement of people.
We are here to ensure that we do not allow interstate movement to come in here.
To curb the spread of COVID-19 in Nigeria, the federal government directed that there be a total lockdown in March 2020, permitting only essential services providers to move freely and perform their patriotic responsibilities. A few citizens groaned. Many Nigerians obeyed, according to the Corps Marshal of the Federal Safety Corps.
The restrictions also placed on vehicles 24-hour lockdown, and that this went on for about 4 weeks before Mr. President, on the advice of the Presidential Task Force, caused a review, a partial review that civil servants can go to work Monday, Wednesdays, Fridays, and also banks can open the markets with total compliance on the guidelines given on physical distance, wearing of face masks, which is compulsory now. And I think I can say that we are recording almost 90% compliance.
Movement from state to state is disallowed. In spite of this, research shows that some people contravene the law. Why?
The campaign by the Nigeria Center for Disease Control, which they call #Take Responsibility, frankly, is what we should all try to embrace. Each and every one of us should take responsibility. Am I a family member? If I'm a family member, my action, how does it affect my own family?
Ikaro Atta is the chairman, Federal Capital Territory Task Force on Traffic Management. Positive outcomes have been birthed as a result of the force's tenacity and firm resolve.
We need to actually enforce compliance at the beginning point with schools. Subsequently, we had to go into religious centers, worship centers. We had to ensure that the mosques and the churches are closed. Persons who are custodians and enforcers of divine laws, finding it very difficult to comply to mere mortal laws that does not contravene their faith.
COVID-19 is contagious. That means that it can be contracted from person-to-person interaction. How has this impacted intrastate movement?
For goodness sake, if you are not on essential services, you are not in broadcasting house, and you are not among the security agencies mandated, why, and you don't have emergency at hand, maybe your wife is about to deliver or you have a sick child, what is your business leaving your home? Why you want?
The ones where they pay you, how much they pay you? 1.5 from Bini, you pack them. Zaria.
In Nigeria, over 5,000 people have tested positive for COVID-19, with almost 2,000 people released after testing negative and having treatment. The goal is to flatten the curve, reduce the numbers, and keep Nigerians safe.
Thank you so much, Thelma. And with that, we move on right away from the lockdown. We began to have easing of the lockdown, thereby reopening economy of a nation gradually. What does that entail? How has it fared? Has it been that easy for people? And are we all now crying a little bit of relief? And have we passed the request for palliative? I don't know, but let's see.
With the gradual ease of lockdown in Lagos, Ogun, and the FCT directed by President Muhammadu Buhari and implemented by the Presidential Task Force in a bid to curtail the widespread of the coronavirus, otherwise known as COVID-19, and reopen the economy, Lagosians are having to adopt and adapt to a drastic change in lifestyle preparatory to the post-COVID-19 era. These changes also come with economic implications, most of which seem to be adverse, especially with the year 2020 national budget being drawn down to operate at the rate of $25 per barrel of crude oil.
Most of the businesses in Nigeria are micro, small, medium enterprises. They account for 84% of all the jobs in Nigeria, right? And 50% of our gross domestic product, our GDP. And they are the ones that have borne the brunt of this COVID-19 infliction on Nigeria. And they're the least able to be able to weather this storm.
The corporate and non-corporate sector of the economy are presently experiencing massive layoff of staff, while businesses are operating on tenterhooks, with a lot striving to stay afloat and not go under. However, diversification are being observed in the business world, with a boost in sales of some essential items necessary to survive the COVID-19 pandemic, like face masks, hand gloves, and hand sanitizers.
I'm talking about the mildly impacted industries: agriculture, online courses, oil and gas, financial services, sports betting, and lottery. Now, these companies are mildly impacted mainly because A, they are protected and they are just too important to fail, such as agriculture, banking. The government will never let those two sectors fail. You know this, right? Because it's the lifeblood of the economy. You find that anything that is related to food, processing, health, pharmacies have done. That face mask you're wearing, I remember buying a pack of face masks for 50 face masks in February, beginning for 1,500. If you can see it for 15,000 naira now, you're doing very well. Right? These are some of the ridiculous margins. Sanitizers went through the roof. So anything related to health, it is a good business to be in. Although I'm seeing those prices are beginning to normalize now.
The coronavirus pandemic and lockdown has also triggered new communication channels which were previously ignored. Owing to the need for observance of social distancing, the virtual space has come alive in many more ways than earlier thought, and this will expectedly continue and thrive even in the post-COVID-19 era.
You need to get capital on ground before you even venture into going into any businesses. But with this virtual or online trading, all you need to do is a little capital that will just... You can even start doing the business from your phone.
As the ease of lockdown continues with figures on a daily rise, it is important for Nigerians to adapt to the new way of life and take responsibility for our personal and collective safety as well as businesses. This we can simply do by obeying the simple guidelines. Wash your hands with soap under running water. Make use of alcohol-based hand sanitizer. Sneeze into a tissue and cover your cough with your elbow. Maintain social distance. More importantly, stay home if you have no business outside. Take responsibility.
Okay, take responsibility. Thank you there from Lagos. And I'm going to be talking with a guest that I told you earlier on when we started, but I want to, before I usher him in, take a contribution from a lady. It says, my name is Chinenye from Imo State. The lockdown has really taught me a lot, like a lot of things I thought were difficult before now I have been able to practice, and I'm perfectly good with them, even though I still pray to see the end to this. All right, this telling me that Chinenye has been doing something practical, no matter how small or medium, that is to be productive for herself and for people around her. And speaking about being productive, I have seated with me in the studio the Director General of Small and Medium Scale Enterprises Development Agency of Nigeria, that's the SMIDAN, in the person of Omar Ra'a. I hope I got that correct. You're welcome, Doctor.
Thank you.
In the past, I used to call it Rada, but I know it's not Rada, it's Ra'a. Thank you, sir, for joining us.
Thank you so much, sir, for having me.
All right. I was listening, to a conversation between two people when they talked about the economic impact on their businesses. And I know that's your area, the small and medium scale. This is actually very small. But I got to tell them about a certain loan by CBN. I didn't have clear information about it. I just overheard. So can you tell us about this 50 billion naira loan from the CBN? Talk to us about
Thank you so much. I think part of the effort the federal government made immediately after the first case of COVID in Nigeria in February was a statement by the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria in which 50 billion was rolled out for the use of micro, small and medium businesses in the country. And after making the statement, they came up with the guidelines as to how the MSMEs can access those funding in the central bank. And the funding is channeled through the National Microfinance Bank. And any interested party, he can go to the website of the National Microfinance Bank and he will get all the details of the loan. But the loan is categorized into two sections. There is one for household. Household, in the definition from our side, is those small macro businesses. And
when you say small macro, does it include the akara sellers?
Yes, because what we mean by micro, these are people who are into business, who have a capital base of 1 naira to less than 10 million naira.
Okay.
Yes, or they employ one person to less than 10 people. These are what we categorize as macro businesses. And these businesses, we sometimes call them household. So in this term, they call it household, and they can access funding up to the maximum of 3 million naira from National Microfinance Bank. And the criteria for getting this loan are easy and simple. First of all, you must have an ID card. Maybe after having an ID card, you must have a financial record of your business. What you normally do, just a simple record of your finances. And
so this record can be maybe from exercise book?
Yeah, it can be from exercise book. It depends on the kind of business. The level of your business determine what kind of record the bank expect you to have.
Okay.
And then I think what you need to do also a proof of ownership of that business in terms of maybe that business has suffered due to the COVID-19 effect. There are some businesses which have not been affected by the COVID-19. So the interesting part of it is to have a basis for that claim. And then you can access it and you can get this money. It's available, people have started applying. The second category is for the small and medium businesses. This category, they can access up to about 25 million naira.
Okay.
And that is the maximum. And simply they require to bring identification, the record of their finances, maybe a simple business plan to really show how they want to utilize the fund. And then the idea, then the passport photograph, and then a guarantee form. These are the basic things that the business require to do it. But I know what is reducing the impact of this palliative is because of lack of information. It's very good that we are discussing this thing because most of the small and micro businesses, they are not aware that this thing exists. And even if they are aware, they don't know where and how they can get into it.
You're very correct. Now, I still want to go back to the first, group of people you mentioned. That's the family or household. You mentioned, bringing proof of ownership. Now, if I go back to the akara seller, if I am an akara seller person, and probably I need a capital of 10,000 to start, what kind of proof of ownership do I bring? Is it my frying pan or I don't know?
No, we are not talking about that kind of
business
because for you to access 10,000 naira, you don't need to go into this rigor of getting all those things. We are talking about some people who are into production, maybe a small production in their house. Maybe they are producing detergent, maybe some are producing these sanitizers and all this kind of thing. But you know, there are a lot of things, and this COVID-19 has really introduced new things, and people are getting to improve on their businesses daily. New ideas are coming up. People realize that they can use technology to also do their businesses. People realize that they can do so many things in their home rooms, in their own houses, without necessarily going out to do certain things. So this has created another window of opportunity for the MSMEs in the country. What we are requesting is let them use the availability of funds around so that they can be able to grow and scale it up, so that we generate more employment, we generate more income, so that we can get out of this mess as easy as possible.
Now, I need you to share with me what's the interest rate like and the moratorium involved.
The interest rate for this loan is just 5%.
5%?
5%, and then this 5% will run off to February 2021.
Okay.
Anybody who is going into that loan can access it from now up to February 21. After February 2021, the interest rate will be 9%.
This conversation will not be complete until we've talked about the collateral. Some have actually said that one of the collateral is almost, it's a hard one. Bring movable, whatever, I don't know. Can you speak on that?
I think this loan that is rolled out by CBN does not require collateral. It doesn't require collateral. What it requires is a guarantee for guarantor form. When you fill the guarantor form, you don't require collateral. But for those other loans that require collateral, people should understand that the CBN has introduced Collateral Registry of Nigeria. This Collateral Registry of Nigeria is for businessmen and women to register their movable assets, like your generator, your machine, your motor, everything you have, you can register it, and it can be utilized as collateral when you want to obtain loan, instead of looking for CFO, landed property, and the rest of it, which is very difficult for macro and small businesses. But when you have the collateral registry, you can use your motor vehicle to obtain a loan of 200, 300, depending on the value of that vehicle. As you are using the vehicle, you are also utilizing it to obtain loan to do your business.
All right. Now, I'm wondering, if I take a loan and I have a business, probably I'm not too good at it, would Smeden provide me opportunity of training and mentorship as well, to ensure that I don't waste the money?
Honestly, that is what Smeden is meant for.
Okay.
Smeden provide entrepreneurship training freely at any time for anybody who requested for it. And then we also provide business development support in way of monitoring, mentoring them, and guiding them on how to do their things. And that is the reason why Smeden has offices in all the 36 states of the Federation, and we have 6 zonal offices across the country. Even though that we have shortage of manpower at the state level, but we still provide that kind of services to the MSME as much as we can provide. So this is one of the major responsibility of the agency, and this is one of the major mandate of the agency, and this is what we have been doing.
Knowing that we can actually access money, thank you so much for coming. Maybe I'll go into, what am I going to do? Before you came in, I was thinking about being a footballer, being a fighter, but now I'm thinking about baking. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
We'll be speaking with the Director General Smeden, the person of Dr. Omar Diko, and we will be going on a break for now, and when we come back, the show continue. Thank you again, sir. A lot of entertainers are making money today out of COVID-19. Ask me how, and I'll quickly tell you. Meet my guest later. But he is an IT specialist. He is the man, the MD, the CEO of Galaxy Backbone Limited, in the person of Professor Mohammed Bello Abubakar. Thank you for joining us.
My pleasure.
Talk to me. Galaxy Backbone, it's government-owned, and a whole lot has been said about it. How prepared are you for the new norm?
Thank you very much. The Galaxy Backbone, as you have rightly said, is is a government IT provider. Specifically, it is supposed to provide connectivity as well as also applications that can be used to promote e-governance, okay, in the country. So it was founded or established in 2006, and since then it has developed a robust kind of an infrastructure, okay, that covers a backbone, that is
backbone. Okay.
So that is the fiber backbone. Through one of its own major projects, government has somehow invested a lot on that. It is the backbone from Lagos coming through Enugu to Nasarawa State and then to here in Abuja. So we have that backbone that has come through this. And then in Abuja we have what we call the National Data Center, okay, which is supposed to be a shared service center, which is here in Abuja. And then with also a disaster recovery center in Enugu. So in terms of infrastructure, we put in all things that are needed at least to cover that aspect. And we also in the verge of again coming up with another project that is that will cover now the entire country. The first one was NICTIF 1 project, and then the second one is NICTIF 2 project. It's supposed to cover now the northern part of the country, and then that will now go back. And then we have another looping that will go through Ilorin and back to Lagos, so that everything is now completely connected. So, and if you have followed also the news, which I know you do always, just on this Wednesday, the first maiden virtual Federal Executive Council was held, where Mr. President was the chair, as always. So that was part of the making of the Galaxy, trying to make government work despite the fact that we have this kind of challenges through now our very proactive ministry, it is Ministry of Communication, Digital Economy, and very proactive minister. So he made sure that now we're able to have this particular meeting. So you can see that, as I said, we have already rolled out and then trying to see that we have come up with all these things. Actually, the issue of the FEC as it is, it was conceived since from the beginning. It was a kind of a planned thing that ultimately came up now. What happened was, I can remember on 23rd when it was almost apparent that the government will defect me in a seat. So the Honorable Minister immediately gave us a marching order. We start to do all what needs to be done, so that ultimately all basic government kind of ministries and what have you are connected, and then ultimately for a possibility of kind of having this FEC meeting, and that culminated into the FEC meeting on Wednesday.
You know, I'm happy it worked out with the FEC meeting, but I know that a lot of government workers, a lot of government officials are not very e-compliant. They are not very IT compliant. There are some, you ask for email address to, do a bulk message. They tell you, please send me a text. What is your office going to do with such organizations, where facilities are not available, where members of that particular arm of workers are not ready, intellectually speaking, they're not exposed to IT? What will you do for them?
Yeah, I think this is also a very good question. And as you know, actually, somewhere in December last year, there was e-governance, kind of a platform which was championed by our sister organization, that is NIGTA. So the e-Nigeria platform had the graceful presence of Mr. President, and there the digital Nigeria plan was somehow unveiled, and this digital Nigeria plan has about 7 pillars. One of the pillars is the issue of digital inclusion, to see that they have brought in about the inclusion, that is about the training of the personnel, to make sure that they have become ICT compliant. So we have already started rolling out from that. It was already approved by Mr. President, and recently there was also the broadband plan that came off, that is 2020 to 2015 to 2025, that is the broadband plan for the Nigeria, and this also has this component into it. So we've been very active to see that we have provided the necessary training, and so that is what we have been doing.
That's lovely to know. In the paper we took this morning, precisely the leadership weekend, the CGN asked that they should speed up the trial of the criminal cases in the courts, I guess because of the congestion of the prisons, because of COVID-19. I'm wondering, what is Galaxy Bond going to do about ensuring that, virtual trials, e-trials are also done? Is that going to be possible?
Yeah, it's possible. With this digital kind of an age, I have to tell you that almost everything is possible. As it is now, we are in what we call the fourth industrial revolution. And the fourth industrial revolution is just about ICT. So the COVID-19, what COVID-19 just simply did was just fast-track the whole thing. But that is the direction we have been moving. That is actually the direction all over. So all things that you can imagine and think of actually can be digitalized. Okay, can be digitized, and then for example, we already know about the e-commerce. There is also the issue of e-transport. There will be e-health. There are e-education. Okay.
E-transport?
Yeah, e-transport.
How does that work? I can travel on the internet.
This is a very interesting kind of... but I don't want to go to the issue of the 5G, which maybe to some extent may address what you are talking about. But then, presently, when we are talking of the 4G and maybe 3G, there is, I don't know whether you have heard about this particular program. They call it Kobo 360.
Kobo?
360.
Kobo 360. Okay.
Yeah, the Kobo 360 was is a kind of a software developed within here, that is developed by Nigerians, and it is supposed to make it possible to ease kind of transportation, particularly of goods. Okay, so it's trying to link transporters with now the owners of goods. Okay, so it's linking this. So what is happening is that you may have your own goods and you want these goods to be transported from one place to the other. Okay, and the transporters may not know that you have these goods. So if they have this software, okay, in their vehicle, they can easily, even 24/7, they can easily know, okay, at so place, there are these cargo that are supposed to be moved from so place to so place. So they can just go there. And then, in fact, from the software, they can just say, okay, we are available. And then the deal will come in, and then ultimately they will be paid. They will go and carry the goods, and also take the goods to the location they are supposed to take them to. So making business easy. And not only that, especially I want to maybe emphasize this on this particular period, the COVID-19, when we are talking of having a kind of social distancing and trying to minimize contact. So you can have through this software a kind of agreement, payment will be made, and then the goods, you know where they are. So the driver of the truck will just go there,
he will see the good there. He doesn't need to have a contact with the person because he has already been paid. So he will just, if needs be, he can even disinfect the cargo and then carry in the cargo and then take it to where it is supposed to be, and he knows where to take it. The person who is supposed to take it also knows that it is coming. So when he comes, he will just keep it there. And then without having contact also with the person that is supposed to collect the goods.
Well, we reduce spread of diseases as well.
That is it.
That is very good. It's good to know. Thank you very much for coming. That's the MD, CEO of Galaxy Backbone in the person of Mohammed Bello Abubakar. Thank you. It's been exciting speaking with you because particularly I know that every business, even up to farming, will definitely have to go digital this time around. And until we embrace it fully, we may not be able to get to the next level we've been speaking about. All right, the show continues in a while. Don't go away.
Coronavirus pandemic has since the last couple of months changed people's ways of life on a global scale. City centers, towns and rural communities are not spared of the social, economic and health implications of the pandemic.
Because of this dangerous disease, all of us are now wearing face masks. The pandemic has really affected our businesses. May God help all of us.
Right from the time of the index case in Nigeria, the virus and its spread across several states of the Federation, many words have become popular part of our lexicon. Words like quarantine, isolation, face masks, palliatives, social distancing, sanitizers, and others have become necessary observancy.
So what we have done in the city center is to use the instrumentality of the media to reach out to people at the city center, and of course we've done a lot of house-to-house campaign, street-to-street campaign, community-to-community campaign, sensitization against COVID-19 and all of that. What we have done at the local level is to assemble a team of sensitizers, if I might call them that way, the local government health educators, the assistant local government educators, local government health information officers, the chief orientation and mobilization officers.
As a direct consequence of the outbreak of the disease and as a response to the guideline on the pandemic, several people, young and old, boys and girls, have devoted their time to making and selling of face masks.
It is a lucrative business. We sell like 50 in a day or 30.
One important concern, however, is whether the people in rural communities are adequately sensitized and aware of the threats posed by COVID-19 and the measures for safeguarding against the pandemic.
We still have some percentage of the populace within the grassroots that do not really know much about this. Only, just for the sake that government is telling them to stay at home. But nevertheless, the government is not resting on its source. There are various bodies going out to sensitize the people. Like NOAA is outside now, sensitizing the people, conducting sensitization exercise, house-to-house sensitization exercise.
Several people at the grassroots are not only aware of the pandemic, they are also observing the guidelines put in place by various relevant authorities.
We are fully aware and we are doing everything possible, humanly possible, to prepare ourselves. My subjects, I beat the gong all over the town, announcing the need, the necessity for them, to wear the face mask, to obey the rules of the game. And then what happens in Etapa obtains in the rest of the 15 communities that make up Oye local government.
Apart from government efforts, communities associations have also been involved in driving home the point for rural dwellers to also stay safe.
The people are well aware and they are compliant. And this could be testified from the few cases of the coronavirus in Ekiti State. Apart from the government effort, we have on our own created awareness and even mobilized fund to provide palliative for the people of the community.
life. In several rural communities, farming and related activities are their mainstay. Therefore, to prevent food crisis at the community level, farmers still go to their farms to cultivate crops, especially during this planting season. The leaders and the traditional rulers of such communities do impose it upon their people to adhere to COVID-19 guidelines in order to guard against infection of the disease.
We understand it. That is why we give each other gap, because we don't want this. That is why I have my nose cover now. I think you will see me now. Yeah. That is why wherever we are going, so we are using it.
Though there is sensitization and awareness of the coronavirus pandemic, efforts of sensitizing the entire populace should not stop until the nation is able to get over the scourge.
All right, that beautiful report is from Ekiti, and whether or not we like it, COVID-19 is real. Somebody sent a message that I should not mind those who are saying that it is not real. That if they don't want to believe it, they should visit the isolation centers. I don't want you to do that. Just believe that it is real. Wash your hand, use your hand sanitizers. While you do that, I'll take a break. Okay, you caught me there. I was actually laughing because I have two lovely people here, and they've been entertaining me behind the camera. We've been gisting, we've been laughing, and Oiza and May.
Yes.
You people will not deceive me. You know something they say about a tree, apple not falling too far from the tree? You know where I'm coming from. Eh?
Yes, ma'am.
Your mommy, Eugenia Abu.
Yes.
She's a wonderful personality, good entertainer, reporter, and all that.
Thank you.
You have not gone far away from her.
I tried.
Did she in any way mentor you or influence what you're doing?
Everybody kind of had a hand in mentoring / influencing everything that we do in the house, because our house is very musical. So, but when it comes to the music aspect of it, it was more our dad, because he's the musical instruments and he sings and stuff like that.
When you say your house is very musical, I'm beginning to wonder, when you want to ask for a cup of tea, you think to say that?
To be very honest, yes, in a way. We have a amongst like the last four of us, our siblings, like the ones that are closer in our age, if we just kind of break into songs for random stuff. And sometimes my mother and my father will catch us on, like, just unaware, we're singing randomly in the parlor downstairs, and he's like, what's wrong with these people? So it's like everybody kind of does that in the house.
Oh, okay. I know she's not watching. I'm tempted to ask you, does she sing too?
Mom,
yes. Does she sing?
She sings broadcasting.
Yes. She sings broadcasting?
Yes.
Oh my God. Okay, I took it too. Alright, so you don't sing broadcasting, but I see you love your bathroom songs a lot.
Yes, we do.
What do you sing in the bathroom?
So, bathroom has a natural reverb. So it has the acoustics that you need, that you don't need like any serious equipment. And the lighting in that bathroom is really nice, because everybody can see if we have done jambaki and all the makeup and everything is clear in that mirror, in that lighting. So we just decided that okay, one day we sang in front of the mirror and the lighting was good and the voices were nice, and we're like, well, let's just continue like this, because it was.
And it actually made it unique, but the people may not be understanding what I'm speaking about. I need you to, sing a little for me. You did something on COVID.
Yes.
Okay. Can you write that out for me?
Okay. Are you fine? Yeah, I'm good. That key fine. Yeah, that is good. Okay. Life, and that's okay. You're going out like every day. Now tell me, where do you have to be? No be me see you last week I play. They say stay at home, see you no go free. You want to live young, wild and free. You think that you have immunity. When you start the cough, tell me how it go be. Going out is not your Yahoo. No be waiting, Baba, will say you must do. Going out is not your Yahoo. Sit down in one place, did they swipe for you? Stay at home, you can do TikTok. Don't be an idiot. Please take this serious. You're being a COVID idiot. Stay at home, you can do TikTok. Don't be an idiot. Please take this serious. You're being a COVID idiot, so please stay in your house. Don't be an idiot. Please don't come out. They say wash your hands so you no go green. Say black man no they die from disease. Are you at the brink of insanity, or are you just stay dundee? Can't you see that there's a new case like every day? If you're bored, or as I tell them what to do, you can wash your mother's plate. Stay at home, you can do TikTok. Don't be an idiot. Please take this serious. You're being a COVID idiot. Stay at home, you can do TikTok. Don't be an idiot. Please take this serious. You're being a COVID idiot. Stay in your house. Don't be an idiot. Please don't come out. COVID idiot.
You just spoil it.
No.
All right, that's a good one. You say don't be a COVID idiot, right?
Yes.
I love that, and all the advice that go with it. And you told them that if you don't know what to do, you should wash your mommy's plates. So, but I know between two of you, you did more than that. A little bit told me that the hair on your head, you did it yourself. And you never knew how to do hair until COVID started.
Yes, we had to do something. We are kind of looking unhappy. Yes, we look. That's the term I'm trying to think of, because we're not going anywhere. There's no reason to make hair, and we all lose our hair before the lockdown started. And there's no salons open.
It's even risky.
And we're all just looking. Sometimes we come down. There's no motivation to go anywhere, so we're just coming down. We're not made our hair. Then me and me just sat and we said, "Oh, let's try and make hair." So
we went to YouTube.
Yeah, we went to YouTube, and we're like many girls in my house. Everybody just like, "Okay, this one you gonna learn how to twist. You learn how to braid, you learn how to crochet." My other sister said, "Oh, you're going to learn how to do bivon." So all of us just went to YouTube.
We even asked people help on Twitter, and people sent us videos that we could use. Then we learned how to mix. It was very hard, but we did it. It took her like 3 days.
Yeah, it took like 3 days to do it.
It took you 3 days to make her hair.
Yes.
But the basic thing, you did it.
Yes.
And it's beautiful.
Thank you.
And you made her own hair.
Yes.
And the good news is that you'd never done this before.
No.
You learned it.
Yes.
So COVID actually made you wise and not an idiot.
Yes,
You know, I've been following you up for a while, and I know Asha at a point, commented on your performance.
Yes.
A lot of people have actually said that you sing like her. Are you in any way going to try to reach out and do something with Asha?
So
that's what I want to do.
We reached out one time on Twitter, and she responded, but then she had a show, I think, and we're supposed to open for her, but then COVID came about, and then the show got cancelled. But she reached out to us again after one of our videos, and she was like, "Oh, you guys are doing really well," and it meant a lot to us, because she's like our musical.
We are very huge fans of Asha. Like the first song
we ever learned
how to play guitar was Jayla, and it was like, although we don't remember it anymore, but when we learned. And every performance we do, like before we even started doing anything on like social media, was that as soon as every church event where I come and sing, what song are we singing? Off the top of our head is Jayla. We'll just be going. So it's like Asha is like a really huge inspiration to us. We really like her.
Okay, just a tribute to her, as your icon. You want to do anything about her? One of her songs, anything?
Let me see. Except we do it a cappella, because I can't really remember how to play it yet. Abi?
Yeah.
Let me try.
You can do ECGD.
Any of it.
ECGD.
I'm in chains, you're in chains too. I wear uniforms and you wear uniforms too. I'm a prisoner, you're a prisoner too, Mr. Jailer. I have fears, you have fears too. I will die, but you self go die too.
I don't want to push you, but as soon as you started, it took me way back, because I remember when this song came in the first time, it was everywhere. I'm so happy. I'm so happy I got to meet you guys. I've been following you up and enjoying every little bit. Sometimes I wonder, Would you ever leave the bathroom and get to sing in the sitting room? I don't know.
We actually tried singing somewhere else. And then we tried to sing at the Salad Guru. Yeah, the Salad Guru. There's a salad place in Abuja. Yeah, and the place and the setting was very nice. And we're like, let's sing there. Everyone was like, go back to the bathroom.
People ask you to go back to the bathroom.
For people that don't really know, they're like, why are you singing in the bathroom? But for people that already know and like have been with us from the beginning of our journey when we posted our first video, which was Royals by Lord. This was even before I even caught any attention. They know that we sing in the bathroom. So when we went to the Salad Guru, everyone was like, I beg, just go back to the bathroom.
All right, both of you are twins and you're doing wonderfully well. But I'm wondering, is this a career you're going to follow up for a long time?
If God allows it. But that's our plan. We pray every day that God will see us through it. But that's what we hope to do. Yeah.
And even if we don't like become big musicians, we always want to be music adjacent. We want to be near music, like around music. It's always been a dream.
No, from what I've seen, there's no need. You can't even do anything outside of it. You will always be around it. Whatever you take up tomorrow, you will always be around it. Yes, on a passing note, really, I want you to talk to your peer group. You've been able to achieve a whole lot this period. Yeah. Some of them are complaining, they are bored, they're not creative. So what's your final word for them?
Yeah, so at home, our mom has a timetable. She made us make a timetable for activities and games. It's all about finding the joy or the fun in the littler things of life, or the smallest things. So for example, we had like something as simple as Indomie. We had an Indomie cooking competition. We dressed up like Rihanna. So just find things that you can do, learn a new skill. There's all the time in the world right now for that.
All right, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure having you, and knowing where you come from, I'm not surprised. Eugenia Abu has done very well.
Thank you so much.
She's my icon, and I love what she's been able to do. At home, she gives you timetable. I tell you, when she was here, she gave us more than timetable. She gave deadline. All right, we were speaking with Ozia and Ozia and May. All right, lovely day it has been for me today, and I know tomorrow will be even more exciting. A lot of questions that have been asked, we will be answering you off camera, and some of them will leave for tomorrow because I know Dr. Titus Ibekwe will be here with us and will answer all those questions medically you've been asking me. And for the remaining one on human rights, I also know that Ahmed Issa of Brekete family will be joining me tomorrow to do justice to the rest of your questions. For now, I will just advise you, if you know you love yourself, please, whatever is what, cut some slack. Wash your hand, take responsibility. Bye.